Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakakadash. Double honors to the elders who preach the word truthfully and sincerely. And shalom to the elders, deacons, and the bishops, and the Akim through the four corners of the globe, preaching the word truthfully and sincerely. And I say shalom to you Akim out there in the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Wakakadash. And this is a news article was recently this is recently from CNBC from Amanda Mashkaris yesterday of 9:30 a.m. and it reads the United States slaps Iran with another round of sanctions. You know, those are economic sanctions over drones used in Russia's war on Ukraine. And it says the Biden administration announced a slew of fresh sanctions targeting Iran initiative in defense sector for supplying weapons to Russia. It says, according to the Treasury, Iran has transferred drones to Russia for use on the battlefield across Ukraine. Iran previously denied it supplied Russia with drones for its war in Ukraine. And it says the Biden administration on Friday announced, which was yesterday because today is Saturday, announced a slew of fresh sanctions and the additional measures targeting Iran's initiation, if I pronounced that right, Salakia, in the defense sector as Washington ups the ante in its campaign against Tehran for supplying Moscow with weapons for its war on Ukraine. The Treasury Department imposed sanctions on 6 executive and board members from Iran Quad Initiative Industry, the country's top defense manufacturer for producing unnamed aerial vehicles. Tehran has transferred the UAVs to Russia for use on the battlefield across the Ukraine, according to the Treasury. The administration also designed Nadir Kun Savlish, if I pronounced that right, director of Iran Aerospace Industrial Organization for his work in overseeing the country's ballistic missile program. In addition, the Treasury also imposed sanctions on QODS of Initiative Industries chairman of C. Toya Groceries, if I pronounced that right, managing directing Salakia for not pronouncing these words right. The Gashim Demovandian border meetings members, I meant to say, Hamadars Shahri Tahirani Razaya Kahi Majah Rajia Najaja Angelia and Vilia Arnades, if I pronounced this right. I couldn't fully pronounce those names right, Salakia, for that. But continuing on with the reading of this news article, it says the Kremlin relents reliance on suppliers of last resort like Iran slows their desperation in the face of brave Ukrainian resistance and the success of our global coalition in disruption Russian military supplying chains and denying them inputs they need to replace weapons lost on the battlefield, wrote Secretary of the Treasury Janet Yen in a release. And it says the United States will act swiftly against individuals and entities supporting its Iran UAV and ballistic missile programs and will stand resolutely in support of the people of Ukraine, she added. In recent months, Moscow has carried out a devastating missile and drone attacks against what Ukraine said were civilians targeted as a critical infrastructure such as energy facilities. The Kremlin has repeatedly denied that it uses Iranian-made drones in Ukraine and that it targets residential and other high civilian areas. In a separate statement, the U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken says Iran now becomes Russia's top military backer. Iran must cease its support for Russia's unprovoked war of aggression in Ukraine and will continue to use every tool at our disposal to disrupt and delay these transfers and impose costs on actors engaging in these activities, the nation's top diplomatic added. The following the series of pushing drone strikes, NATO Secretary General Gene Stoltenberg announced that the 30-member alliance will send drones jamming equipment to Ukraine. It says Kyiv has meanwhile invited United Nations experts to inspect what it says are drone Iranian drones. Are down Iranian drones in Ukraine. Some UN Security Council members have argued that by providing Russia with drones, Iran has violated the 2015 resolution. Right, the revival of the 2015 nuclear deal, of which they haven't been having success for that, especially on both sides, because they always have a little meeting in Vienna, Austria, when both sides, representation of Iran and the other side from the UN security, to see if they come with both, and representation from the United States as well too, to see if they have some type of agreement or progress of negotiation of talks of the 2015 revival of the nuclear deal. They've been having talks back and forth throughout the years, but highly unlikely they wasn't unable to come to an agreement because there have been so many economic sanctions, different type of violations of sort of what Iranian doing or anyone that is affiliated with Iran, you know. So I just want to add a note to that. But continue on with the reading. It says the Security Council resolution known as the 2231 prohibits the transfer of all items, material, equipments, and goods and the technology from Iran to another nation unless it is approved in advance by the counselor on a case-by-case basis. Tehran has rejected this claim. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. This is the book of Luke, chapter 21, verse 9. But when ye shall hear of wars and commotions, be ye not terrified, for these things must first come to pass, but the end is not by and by. Right, so that's what we are seeing. The commotions of wars, proxy wars, different nations or different kingdoms going at it with one another. It could be from an economic standpoint of a dispute or getting hit with economic sanctions, warlike tactics, proxy wars, wars or rumors of wars, nations going at it with each other over different type of disputes. It can be in many different categories. That's why they call it commotions. And that's what we are seeing. We see the wars and the commotion between the different nations and different kingdoms as well too. So with that, I just wanted to bring out this article. This was day before yesterday. about United States slapping economic sanctions, another round of sanctions on Iran over drones used in Russia's war on Ukraine. You know, because we already have the ally allegiance between China and Russia. Now you got a increasing allegiance between Iran and Russia as well too. So that's why the United States slapped Iran with another fresh of economic sanctions, like they've been doing economic sanctions on China, Russia, and North Korea as well too. Now you have right here they're using another fresh round of economic sanctions on Iran, of them potentially sending drones to Russia to assist them with the current tensions that's going on with the Russia-Ukraine war situation. You know. So with that, hopefully this lesson was edifying. That I read this news article along with the scripture that brings it out and relates to this news article. So with that, once again, I hope this sit-down lesson was edifying. So with that, I would like to give all praises and glory and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. Double honors to the elders for preaching this word truthfully and sincerely. In the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. And shalom to the Akim, scattered through the four corners of the globe, for preaching the word truthfully and sincerely in the name of Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Wakar Kadash. And until next time, I will say shalom.